Open vial policy. See, after opening a vaccine, you can reuse it if it is maintained under some proper conditions. Implementation of open vial policy allows reuse of partially used multi-dose vials of applicable vaccines. So here applicable vaccine denotes DPT, TT, hepatitis B, OPV, IPV, PCV. So these are the vaccines to which this open vial policy is applicable. Why? Because these are multi-dosed vaccines. And after using it partially for the first time, you can also use it for the second time if you store it under some proper conditions. But it can be only used under 28 days. After 28 days, you have to discard it. And there are some other vaccines which you should discard immediately after the first use. So they are not included in the open vial policy. I use the mnemonic germ B to remember it. First is Japanese encephalitis, and R for rotavirus, M for measles, and B for BCG. And let us see the conditions which has to be followed for this open vial policy. First thing is expiry date has not to be passed. Second thing, vaccines are stored strictly under appropriate temperature range. To maintain the same temperature rate which is appropriate for the vaccine during the transportation and also storage at the cold point, vaccines are not wasted if it is maintained under proper appropriate temperature. And vaccine vial septum has not been submerged in the water to avoid contamination. So obviously the vaccine vials should not be dipped in the water. If you dip it in the water might come into the vaccine and it can be contaminated. And aseptic techniques has been followed while withdrawing all doses. While taking out the vaccine from the vaccine vial, you have to follow aseptic methods. If not, it will lead to the contamination. And vaccine vial monitor has not reached a discard point. I used the mnemonic DDTAA. So first D stands for expiry date, and second D stands for it not be dipped in the water, and third D stands for vaccine vial monitor has not reached its discard point. A stands for appropriate temperature range. Aseptic technique should be used while withdrawing the vaccine from the vaccine vial. So these are the 5 conditions. Followed properly, you can use vaccine for the second time. Open vials should never be submerged in the water because water accumulated in the vaccine carrier as it increases the risk of contamination of the vial septum. Again, you should not dip it in the water because it can contaminate the vial septum. And ensure all the open vials have recorded date and time of opening. At the end of the session, all these open vials should be returned to the cold storage. See, you are conducting this vaccination at PHCs. After you use one dose from this multi-dose vials of vaccines, you should return back these vaccines to the cold storage point. So at the cold chain, open vials should be segregated into applicable vaccines and non-applicable. We have discussed that applicable, right? So DPT, OPV, hepatitis B, TT, PCV and IPV. These are the applicable vaccines. These can be reused again. Whereas germ B, like Japanese encephalitis, rotavirus, measles and BCG, these cannot be reused again. So first we'll discard this germ B. And then if we maintain this applicable vaccines under proper storage conditions, like mentioned above, you can use it for the second time. In case of any adverse effect following immunization is reported, that means someone in the community got some adverse reactions from the immunization, all vaccines should not be thrown away or should not be used. So it should not be discarded and it should not be used. Open vials should be stored in a proper conditions till the investigation gets completed. Coming to the last 2 points, it is about transportation of this vaccine vials. All vials, it can be either opened or unopened. These are transported in the vaccine carriers, right? So vaccine carrier is a box, it's a square box. On the 4 sides, you have this ice packs to maintain the temperature of these vaccines, and in between, you'll keep the vaccines. So how you have to keep that vaccine? You have to place this vials in the zipper bag, and then you have to place it in the vaccine carrier, right? Every vaccine should be recorded in the stock register. And the second point is about the ice packs. So this ice pack should be well sealed to prevent the water leakage, right? So what happens if the water leaks? It can go into the vaccines and it can cause contamination of the vaccine, right? So because of which you have to use well sealed conditioned ice packs. So this is about open vial policy. So to summarize, open vial policy is nothing but some applicable vaccines can be reused again if it is maintained under some proper conditions. Why do we use it? To reduce the vaccine wastage. This point is important. To reduce the vaccine wastage, we have this open vial policy. So what are the conditions? DDDAA. So expiry date should not be passed, and discard point should not be reached, and also it should not be dipped in the water. Appropriate temperature must be maintained. Aseptic techniques should be followed while taking out the vaccine. The things you have to do at the cold chain point, you also write it. First, we'll segregate into applicable and non-applicable. We'll throw off non-applicable, and under applicable, if the conditions are followed, we'll use it again. Or in case any AEFI, that means adverse effect detected in the community, not throw it, you will not use it, but you will maintain it under proper conditions till the investigation is complete. So this is about open vial policy. Bye.